Welcome to Let's Talk Petty. We're not petty, but we like to talk about short stories.
From Reddit. I'm Andrew.
I'm Kate.
Not just Reddit, but it's probably the best place we found for stories.
It is.
How many of them are true?
I mean, they seem, the ones that don't seem legit, I skip.
Yeah.
But they are coherent.
So we've been in many different subreddits.
Mm-hmm.
We started in Petty Revenge.
Yep.
We went to Pro Revenge.
Mm-hmm.
Did we go to one above Pro?
What, Mega? I don't know.
Well, if we haven't gone above Pro, we're going above Pro today.
Okay.
It's above Mega. It is Nuclear Revenge.
Ooh.
The Nuclear Revenge subreddit.
Is that the only way you get on there is you are blowing up people?
Funny enough, that happens in this one.
Oh, God.
And I mean, not physically blow them up, because I probably wouldn't talk about that, because that's just a terrible thing to do to a person. And if you've blown up a person, I don't want you listening to this podcast.
I don't think you can control that.
We'll see.
If you're a serial killer, I don't want you listening to my podcast either.
There's many other things that if you are, I don't want you listening, but I can't help those. But if you're blown up a person, literally blown a person to pieces, you do not get to listen to this podcast. Turn your phone off right now. Delete the podcast app. Never look us up again.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
But anyways, so we're Nuclear Revenge. And the title of this one is "A Man Harassed Me and I Got His Retirement Benefits Taken Away."
Okay.
Okay, so is it ever a good idea to talk bad about someone that in a situation where maybe they're your ex, maybe someone you used to be friends with? Does it ever usually work out good to talk bad about them all the time?
You know my rule. If you can't say something to someone's face, don't say it behind their back.
But even if you do that, it's going to come back. You're going to hear about it.
No, it's what I'm saying.
Right.
If you can't say it to someone's face, don't say it behind their back.
But sometimes even if you say it to their face, it's going to blow up. But especially if you're saying it behind their back, it's probably going to blow up at some point, or very easily could blow up.
It could easily blow up. I won't say every single time, but it could easily.
Very often. So keeping that in your mind. So this took place over 3 years, give or take some. I, a 29-year-old female, left the military and picked up a contracting job in the same field. While I was starting my new career, I was leaving an unhappy and abusive marriage. My ex-husband, 29, male. Not sure why she put male since it was her husband.
Because she's in the military, and that's what military people do.
Very specific. He was a store manager at a GameStop, and when asked if he gave military discount, he would give a military discount and ask if people knew me on base and what I was up to. A man we will call... Think of the most ridiculous name you could ever come up with. Just a nickname, a nickety name.
A nickety name. I don't know.
Well,
Poophead.
Pretty close. This one, she says, a man we will call Bubble Bass.
Bubble Bass. Which
is a 35-year-old male, actually worked for me, and the two of them bonded over their mutual hate for women.
Oh, yes, I love it.
So it's going to go well. Bubble Bass would refer to me as a whore and slut at work, and even went so far as to attempt to get my home address to give to my ex. I reported the incidents through proper channels and had to get a new apartment, but unsurprisingly, the military did nothing to Bubble Bass.
What? That's so unusual.
Amazingly, they did nothing. You would never guess in a million years that they wouldn't take reports seriously.
Never, never, never.
So I decided to keep my eyes on him and wait until he made another misstep. Over the next 3 years, working with him was horrible. He would undermine my authority in the section by telling junior people I was stupid, being intentionally insubordinate, and publicly talking about how he was exploiting the foster care system to make money off of the children he was supposed to be taking care of. So he sounds like an upstanding gentleman.
He sounds great.
So being super petty, talking about people, always works out well in your favor, especially in a closed, tight-knit situation like the military.
Yep.
Where you're supposed to be doing everything exactly right.
Well, exactly right. And they are very much about the chain of command.
Right. You'd never talk bad about your superior officers.
Well, I mean, I guess you can.
But it's going to get back to them.
Yeah, you're allowed to talk crappy about people, but then you're probably going to have to suffer consequences from what you're saying.
Exactly. And that's what happens. So about a year after that, another girl, 20 female. So this man was 35 years old and hates women. But over the next, about a year later, another girl, 20 female, came to me and told me that Bubble Bass was approaching her in a way that made her uncomfortable. When I pulled up their chat logs, Bubble Bass was begging her to have sex with him, even though he was married, and she was repeatedly telling him she wasn't interested. From a person that hates women.
Chats on what? What is he?
I'm guessing they must be on their work system or something, whatever they were doing.
What kind of a stupid idiot is going to do that on a work computer?
Someone like this person, someone that brags about taking advantage of making money off the foster system, probably is going to be dumb enough to leave a trail of their words on their computer system.
That's pretty dumb.
Super dumb. But Bubble Bass is super dumb.
Bubble Bass.
BB. B squared.
No. B squared. That nickname belongs to somebody else. Do not you do not know any correlation between those two.
They share the same last name, so you're right.
No. Take that back.
We will not go with B squared. I convinced the girl to report Bubble Bass despite her hesitation. During the investigation while I was interviewed, I spared no detail about what exactly Bubble Bass was doing and saying, to include fraud, waste, and abuse of government assets and systems. I kept a literal list with dates and times. As things turned out, there were 4 other women at our base Bubble Bass was sexually harassing. Don't forget, he hates women.
Well, I feel like men that hate women are usually the ones that sexually harass them. Not even kidding.
I mean, maybe it's because of their hatred for them. They just think they're inferior and they should just be able to do what they want to them, maybe.
I guess. Or maybe they, because they can never get women most of the time. Yeah, he's married, but who knows? Maybe she hates him too.
Maybe. I would hope so. So this person has worked for 18 years in the military, this 35-year-old. He's got 18 years in the military, telling people about all these bad things that he does. Harassing, now we find out that he's harassed 4 women. Super petty talking about this lady, so she's kept this list of all these things that he's done. So, of course, she's going to repay him for his amazingness of a person that he is, his amazingness of a person. So Bubble Bass went to non-judicial punishment this week and lost everything. He has 18 years in the military and was 2 years away from a full retirement. He lost his clearance, he lost his foster children, he lost his honorable discharge. He's literally starting life over in his 30s with a discharge that shows he sexually harasses women with no benefits and 18 years of training in a job field that is only relevant if he has a clearance. So if you've learned nothing else from this story, don't ever talk poorly about a person. And if somebody is in charge of you or is your boss, don't go out of your way to say bad things about them, especially very demeaning things like calling them whores and sluts.
But in this situation, don't you think it was even a little bit more extreme because she said she was getting out of an abusive relationship? So if you're getting out of an abusive relationship and she doesn't want her ex to know her address, probably because she's scared for her life. She's leaving a poor situation and you're trying to get the address for him. Are you kidding me?
But I have to imagine also that this guy, the Bubble Bass guy, probably stepped up his just garbage ways of acting towards people, towards women, and especially towards this person, because he met her ex, who probably had all these bad things to say about her. And was like, yeah, you should, whatever. And so he felt probably even more obligated in his mind to treat her very poorly and be petty towards her and talk about her to everybody that he could possibly talk to.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Literally his life got blown up in a nuclear revenge situation. 2 years, that's the kicker. 2 years away from full retirement, probably never having to work again.
But that's his own doing.
It is 100%.
Again,
he's probably going to blame her. So now he's probably hating women even more, saying, "Oh, look what she did to me."
It's all her fault. She's such a bee and blah blah blah. When if you had just shut your mouth and not tried to put her in physical danger by sharing her address with her ex, you would not have had this happen. Plus, he also just did it to himself by bragging about taking advantage of the foster system, which is supposed to be helping kids. So right there, you're evil. And then using work systems, computers, whatever it was, to leave those messages.
I would love to find out what else she was reading from him, where she was, I guarantee you he was saying other things to people about her too in those logs.
Oh, yeah, probably. Because if he's being insubordinate, generally people like that who don't like to take direction from women, I don't know from experience or anything like that.
Me.
Will usually feel other people out to see if they feel the same way. And then, if they find a kindred spirit with that, that's when they go full force and try to get everybody on their side.
They
with
will
them,
bond over that.
which is really kind of creepy and weird.
It's creepy that they
Yeah.
bond over. I mean, people
What
are.
a weird thing to bond over.
I'm not saying
Hey,
it's good.
Do you hate women? I do too. I mean, that's pretty much what they're saying. Hey, do you hate taking direction from women? Because you're super old-fashioned? Oh, me too. Let's hang out. That's basically what they're saying.
Is it that they're old fashioned, or is it because their parents taught them very bad things and set a poor example?
Well, their parents are probably also old-fashioned in thinking and just pass that on to them. And they took the reins joyously and carried it on.
I'd love to find out what Bubble Bass's wife thought about this whole situation.
Oh, well,
What the fallout was there.
I bet you it was
I bet
divorce.
I bet that he went a little while before he even told her anything about it.
Yeah, probably because he was too afraid.
Probably just pretended everything was good. And at some point, he's going to have to tell her.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a feeling he'd be that type of a person that would do that.
Like
Because
still,
I know somebody like that.
oh yeah, still get dressed for work, go to work, hang out in the parking lot.
Good time. It's not me.
What? I was assuming we were
There's
talking
only
about
been
you.
there's only been one time I've been fired that I haven't told you about.
Oh yeah, when's that?
I've never been fired.
Oh man, I've been fired once.
You did?
Yeah, I got fired from McDonald's, remember?
Thought you quit that.
I definitely did not.
I
I
don't
definitely got
remember that.
fired. Yeah, I got fired.
You loved that job.
I did. I really did like working at McDonald's. I loved it. I thought their training was great. If every company would take up the way that McDonald's trained, then companies would be better off.
It's high praise for McDonald's.
It is. Well, I don't know how their training is now, obviously, because it's been, God, how many years?
What were you, 17, 16?
No, I got my
15?
working papers. I think I was like the end of 14, about to be 15 when I started working there.
Many years ago.
Many moons ago.
So what would you think? Do you think that's nuclear revenge on this person?
I would say that is nuclear revenge, that person was just walking around with the nuclear bomb on them and all they had to do was figure out the code. And that person's also shouting out the code.
The code is be super petty towards people.
And then
So if anybody is being
They used
petty
it.
towards someone right now, talking about them behind their back, the lesson that you're going to learn from this is your life will get blown up.
But they don't learn. That's the thing. They don't learn a lesson from that.
Well, I'm trying to forewarn people now that if you're doing this to people, being very petty towards them, calling them names for no reason, even if there is a reason, your life is going to blow up.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get 2 years from retirement, and then your life is going to blow up and you're going to lose everything. I'm just telling you how it is. I don't care what field you're in. McDonald's, military,
I don't know.
CEO of Apple, doesn't matter. You
There's
will
a
lose
lot
everything.
of people that they have a hard time saying stuff to other people's faces. I've said that before.
Mm-hmm. Right at the beginning of this episode. You were trying to remember when you said it.
No, I've said it many times,
yes.
not just at the beginning of this episode. That's why I laughed. It's like one of my catchphrases at this point. It's just one of my pet peeves. I can't stand it.
You know what I'd like to say to your face right now?
You love me? Oh, I love you too.
We're going to have another episode next week.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say it behind your back, but I decided against it based on your advice right now. So I told you to your face. So how do you feel about it?
I feel good. I feel good about that. I'm glad we're going to have another episode next week.
Me too. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
Awesome. We agree.
That was awkward.
I'll talk to everybody offline about how terrible she is.
Yes. You already know what I say about that. I don't care if people are talking trash about me as long as they're talking about me.
You heard it first. Go ahead and talk anything you want about her. Just talk. And talk about our podcast too, because that would make her day.
It would make my day.
So go to letstalkpetty.com, listen to all our old episodes. Just sit there and wait for new episodes to get posted. Just keep refreshing. Just wait for something to happen.
I feel like
Quit
if
your
you're
jobs.
just discovering our podcast, there's plenty of episodes for you to
Nope, just wait for new ones.
binge on. Oh, they can't
Just
listen
sit
to the
on our
old ones?
homepage and just constantly refresh and wait for a new one to show up.
Well, that's terrible.
Quit your jobs.
That's terrible advice.
Kind of like when people would wait to go buy a new video game or the new iPhone when they first came out. Just wait in line. Just hit refresh as much as you can to wait for the new one.
Don't do that.
All right. You can reach out to us on Twitter. Let's Talk Petty Pod. We'll definitely interact with you there. Tell a friend, tell an enemy, tell a frenemy about an episode that you like, that they'll like, and we will talk to you
Next week.
See you later.
Thanks for listening. Please be sure and give our show a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. And be sure to follow and subscribe so you don't miss an episode.